Hello, this is Watch All About with another watch review, and in this review we're looking at quite an affordable brand, Gaxs. That's Gaxs, with one of their second models, which is the VD brushed. The RRP of this watch is $155, but currently you can get it for $120. That works out at about £80. So under £100, is always fairly reachable for many of us. So we'll have a look, see if it's a good value for money buy in this price range. So first of all, it's worth noting the specs. So the size is 42 mm in diameter. It has a height of 9 mm and a lug to lug length of 50 mm. It has a sapphire crystal, which is great on a watch costing this much. It has a 5 ATM or 50 meters water resistance, a black oil treated canvas strap, which is a little bit different to normal, and then finally quite a lightweight of 58 grams. So you are getting quite a reasonable amount of watch for the money for $120. To be honest, anything with a sapphire crystal around this price range is pretty good, because many alternatives around this price range don't, and they just have mineral crystals. So that's a great positive. As you can see from the style, it's quite a tall style watch, quite an everyday beater style. It's quite a plain and minimal and simple in design. So let's just have a look at it in closer detail then, to see how it fares. So first of all, thinking about the case, as you can see, the majority of it is heavily brushed, and the brushing is quite decent, quite uniform around, and the only bit of polished is this little edging around the case back. So in that regard, it's quite heavy duty. It's not going to really fare too badly against everyday wear. It's fairly well machined. There's a couple of sharp edges, but on a watch costing this much, you can't expect too much. The case back is quite nice as well, with with the G, as you can see the logo G there, in a nice little pattern, and then surrounded by the details and this brushed centerpiece here. So the case back is simple, very simple. It's actually got quite a long lug to lug length for the size of the diameter. So if I just put it on. There we go. So for my 7¼ inch wrist, I think it fits reasonably well. But usually the lug to lug length is about 6 mm more than the diameter, but in this case it's 8 mm more. So the lugs are a tiny bit longer than usual, but for me, I don't think it affects me too much, but it might prove a bit of difficulty for people with slightly smaller wrists than I have. The lugs are quite nice and shapely though, as you can see. So the crown is, just take this off again. Crown is very simple. It's just a push-pull crown, but it offers decent grip, and hasn't got any signage on the end there. So just give it a gentle tug, and then you can adjust the time, like so. The height of 9 mm is pretty thin as well. So for an everyday watch, for a tool watch, I think it would be perfectly suitable. You'd be able to fit it under your jumpers or your shirts if you really wanted to. So it's quite a good size. I personally find it to be quite comfortable and quite good. Obviously on top we have a sapphire crystal, which is a great positive. Can't really complain with that. And I'm not sure if it's got a layer of anti-reflective coating. As you can see here in the conservatory, it is fairly reflective. You can see quite a lot of detail on the reflections as well. But I think the legibility of the dial means it's not the end of the world, because you can still read it because of the quite bold and simple design of the dial. So the dial, if I get a little bit closer, just give it a slight wipe to get rid of my fingerprints. The dial, as you can see, is very simple. We have applied hour markers and an applied logo, which I do like to see. and then this small seconds dial as well at 6, which is a little bit different to a standard three-hander. So that's a nice little positive thing as well. Main hands, very very simple, and all of these applied items and the hands are all quite a simple brushed stainless steel kind of finish to it. We'll be able to have a look at that in closer detail with the macro lens, and then the Gaxs logo, unfortunately, is different to the rest of it, which makes it look a little bit out of place. It's actually polished, applied, and a little bit thinner than the hour markers. So it would have been nice for it to be the same thickness as the hour markers, and also a brushed finish. It would have really worked well across the whole dial. But it's not to say it's bad. Oh, excuse me. Not to say it's bad. It just doesn't flow quite as nicely as it could do. I mean, there's not much you can say really about the dial apart from it's very plain, simple, and pretty well executed as well. So moving on to the strap, it's a black oil treated canvas strap, a little bit different to your usual leather. I have found that it is quite stiff to begin with, and as you can see here, I haven't worn it a massive amount, but already it's starting to wear a tiny bit. The underside's not so bad. It's a leather underside, although you can see here we do have a bit of wear here as well. So if I just pop it on again. So there we go. So it's a little bit stiff here. You can see it's kind of a bit erect there, and then at the top as well. But I'm sure in time that would loosen up. But whether it would loosen up before it actually started degrading more here, I'm not sure. The buckle, on the other hand, is very nice, as you can see here, brushed to match the case, and a really nice deep engraved G logo on the side there, which is nicely designed as well. Looks very good, well machined as well. So personally, I probably would put a leather strap on it, because I don't know how long this would last for. Although it'll probably be slightly more waterproof than a leather strap. So the strap does certainly, lend itself to a tool watch kind of design and feel to it. Okay, so there we go. Let me just get the macro lens on, and we'll have a look at it in a little bit closer detail. Okay, so here we go. Oh, just give it a wipe. So looking at the dial now, we have the G, as you can see, is quite well made considering the intricacy of it. But you can see how it's different to the hour markers, which I think are quite cool actually. Try and get a bit more of a focus on that. And you can see here as well that these hour markers are more of a match of the main hands, which are quite a plain and simple brushed steel kind of feel to them. There we go. One thing you don't quite notice as well is if you look at the dial itself, there's a very slight kind of radial pattern to it, like a sunburst kind of effect. So it is there, and it's quite subtle, so it's not there all the time. I wonder if you can probably just see it there. But it is it is there, and you do get occasionally a nice flash of light that follows goes around the dial as the light angle changes. On this sub dial then we have a second hand which matches the main hands, which is good to see that followed through, and we have a nice concentric circular pattern on the sub dial, which introduces a bit of texture, and then this very light applied surround to it as well. This little border which keeps things a little bit interesting as well. The printing is all pretty fine and pretty good on the entire dial as well. Okay. So moving on to the case then, have a look at the crown. Oh, excuse that bit of fluff. And then the case itself, you see, is fairly evenly brushed all the way around. Quite reasonably well machined. You can't really complain about it too much considering the price. Then if we flip it over, have a look at the case back. The case back is actually quite well engraved as well. It's not light at all. It's not just laser etched. It's a proper deep engraving, which is always nice to see. There we go, with this polished outer edge as well. There we go. So just looking at the canvas strap, here's the top edge. As you can see, it's, I don't know, it has the possibility to wear easily. And then the underside, let's just have a look under here. You can see there as well where I've worn it, there's a little bit of wear there as well. And then on the top here, see that, and this is, I haven't worn it a massive amount, so I think be warned that the strap will wear quite easily. And then finally, let's have a look at the buckle. Here it is. The buckle is nice with a lovely G logo engraved on it. Well machined as well. It's all nice and soft to the touch. So there we go. Okay. So, I mean, pros and cons really. Just keep in mind the price and the fact that we are getting a well-machined, fairly well-designed watch for under £100. Nice size as well. The con really is the strap. I think the strap could do with being replaced quite soon after buying it, because I don't think it will last too long. The style as well, I think, is probably mainly just towards a tool kind of watch. I don't think it's really an everyday watch. Me personally, I wouldn't wear it every day, but I can certainly think of certain circumstances where I would want to wear this watch. And for the price, it's not that big a concern really, because it's not as if you're spending lots of money for a watch that that will only do certain things. So I do like it. I think it's well made. Looks nice as well for certain things. So there you go. So this was the Gaxs VD brushed, and that's what it's all about.